I'd like to recognize the gentleman from Louisiana because he's got a unique story to tell.
I thank the gentleman from South Carolina. I thank him for speaking today on what I believe is one of the most important areas in this country for getting our economy back on track. And I want to share with him and the rest of you all an email I received today. Today, I received an email that said, "Jeff, my wife has finally convinced me to send you an email and update you on where I am in Louisiana." It says, "I still have not returned to work, but it's looking like I may go to work in early August, and I'm going to be headed out to a particular block out in the deep waters of the Gulf of Mexico to do a P&A job, a plug and abandonment job." So this isn't looking for additional oil and gas or producing more oil and gas. It's a plug and abandonment job. He says, "And I'm not sure when we will actually get back to drilling or completing wells. This moratorium is beginning to impact me. I am fortunate that my company has kept me on since I'm a consultant, not an employee. But my income is down significantly, and my concerns about the future of the Gulf of Mexico has me looking elsewhere. I recently turned down an opportunity in Malaysia, but may not turn it down again. At a time when our country is hurting, it is unbelievable that our leaders are putting more of us out of work, yet still giving money to other countries. The government spending and total disconcern for the working people of this country is wearing on us. It is also annoying to see that one of the first cuts to government spending is in education, but numerous other entitlement programs continue to keep money going towards them." He's fed up. And you know, the sad part about this is that this is an American worker. And our government is basically saying to him, a guy who has a trade, who is plying his trade, that you can no longer apply that trade in this country. If you want to continue to earn a living for your family, you need to go to another country. You need to go to Brazil or Malaysia or to Egypt and follow the rigs out of the Gulf of Mexico out of this country in order to keep your job. Think about that. We are basically telling Americans right now that we don't like the job that you've been doing, regardless of how dangerous it was, and regardless of how many weeks away from your family offshore you spent. Christmases, Easters, that doesn't count. Your job isn't good enough for this country anymore. You need to go somewhere else to ply your trade. Think that is just absolute. It's absurd when we have an opportunity in this country to do all of the things that fix the economy. We can reduce the deficit, just like the gentleman from South Carolina. We could, by increasing drilling in the Gulf of Mexico and domestically, we could send an additional $1.7 billion to the Treasury to reduce our deficit, simply by increasing our drilling activity. We could increase employment. We all know we need it. The job numbers came out last week, 9.2% unemployment. We're not creating jobs. We can create jobs by drilling domestically. And I'm not talking minimum wage jobs. There is not a person in the Gulf of Mexico on a drilling platform who makes minimum wage. Those jobs pay good money. So we can do that. We can reduce our deficit. We can reduce unemployment. And you know what else we can do? We can lower the price of energy for Americans out there. Drilling domestically does all three: creates jobs, reduces the deficit, and decreases energy costs to Americans all over the country. It lowers the price at the pump. The president has already acknowledged that supply affects the market when he went out there and released millions of barrels 30 million barrels out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It's the wrong reserve, Mr. President. The proper reserve is in the Gulf of Mexico and in Alaska and elsewhere in this country. And I thank the gentleman from South Carolina for giving me this time.
What would happen if we had a hurricane? We're in hurricane season, and we've released 30 billion gallons from the reserve. Right. Isn't that there for that purpose?
That is why. The last time prior to this, when we did release oil from the Strategic Reserve, was exactly that instance when Hurricane Katrina affected the refineries and the production platforms in the Gulf of Mexico. And you're right. We should not be using that reserve unless it is an emergency.